Brigitte Bardot. Brigitte and Marie Bardot, born September 28, 1934, often referred to by her initials BB, is a former French actress, singer, and model. Famous for portraying sexually emancipated characters with hedonistic lifestyles, she was one of the best-known sex symbols of the 1950s and 1960s. Although she withdrew from the entertainment industry in 1973, she remains a major popular culture icon. Born and raised in Paris, Bardot was an aspiring ballerina in her early life. She started her acting career in 1952. She achieved international recognition in 1957 for her role in God Created Woman, and also caught the attention of French intellectuals. She was the subject of Simone de Beauvoir's 1959 essay The Lolita Syndrome, which described her as a locomotive of women's history, and built upon existentialist themes to declare her the first and most liberated woman of post-war France. In 1961 she won a David D. Donatello Best Foreign Actress Award for her work in The Truth. Bardot later starred in Jean-Luc Godard's film Le Mépris for her role in Louis Malle's film Viva Maria. In 1965 she was nominated for the BAFTA Award for Best Foreign Actress. Bardot retired from the entertainment industry in 1973. She had acted in 47 films, performed in several musicals, and recorded more than 60 songs. She was awarded the Legion of Honor in 1985. After retiring, she became an animal rights activist and created the foundation Brigitte Bardot. Bardot is known for her strong personality, outspokenness, and speeches on animal defense. She has been fined twice for public insults. She has also been a controversial political figure, having been fined 5 times for inciting racial hatred when she criticized immigration and Islam in France. She is married to Bernard Diourmael, a former advisor to Jean-Marie Le Pen, a French far-right politician. Bardot is a member of the Global 500 Roll of Honor of the United Nations Environment Program and has received awards from UNESCO and PETA. Los Angeles Times Magazine ranked her second on the 50 most beautiful women in film. BB early life. Bardot was born on September 28, 1934 in the 15th arrondissement of Paris, to Louis Bardot and Anne-Marie Musil. Bardot's father, originated from Ligny-en-Barrois, was an engineer and the proprietor of several industrial factories in Paris. Her mother was the daughter of an insurance company director. She grew up in a conservative Catholic family, as had her father. She suffered from amblyopia as a child, which resulted in decreased vision of her left eye. She has one younger sister, Marie-Jeanne Bardot, who is known professionally as Madjanu Bardot. Bardot's childhood was prosperous. She lived in her family's 7-bedroom apartment in the luxurious 16th arrondissement. However, she recalled feeling resentful in her early years. Her father demanded that she follow strict behavioral standards, including good table manners, and wear appropriate clothes. Her mother was extremely selective in choosing companions for her, and as a result, Bardot had very few childhood friends. Bardot cited a personal traumatic incident when she and her sister broke her parents' favorite vase while they were playing in the house. Her father whipped the sisters 20 times and henceforth treated them like strangers, demanding them to address their parents by the pronoun vous, which is a formal style of address, used when speaking to unfamiliar or higher status persons outside the immediate family. The incident decisively led to Bardot resenting her parents, and to her future rebellious lifestyle. During World War II, when Paris was occupied by Nazi Germany, Bardot spent more time at home due to increasingly strict civilian surveillance. She became engrossed in dancing to records, which her mother saw as a potential for a ballet career. Bardot was admitted at the age of 7 to the private school Cours Hadamar. She went to school 3 days a week, which gave her ample time to take dance lessons at a local studio, under her mother's arrangements. In 1949, Bardot was accepted at the Conservatoire de Paris. For 3 years she attended ballet classes held by Russian choreographer Boris Knyazov. She also studied at the Institut de la Tour, a private Catholic high school near her home. Hélène Gordon-Lazareff, the then director of the magazines Elle and Le Jardin de Modes, hired Bardot in 1949 as a junior fashion model. On March 8, 1950, Bardot, aged 15 at the time, appeared on the cover of Elle, which brought her an acting offer for the film Les Lauriers Sans Coupes from director Marc Allegret. Her parents opposed her becoming an actress, but her grandfather was supportive, saying that if this little girl is to become a whore, cinema will not be the cause. At the audition, Bardot met Roger Vadim, who later notified her that she did not get the role. They subsequently fell in love. Her parents fiercely opposed their relationship. Her father announced to her one evening that she would continue her education in England and that he had bought her a train ticket, the journey to take place the following day. Bardot reacted by putting her head into an oven with open fire. Her parents stopped her and ultimately accepted the relationship, on condition that she marry Vadim at the age of 18. Beginnings. 1952 to 1955. Bardot appeared on the cover of Elle again in 1952, which landed her a movie offer for the comedy Crazy for Love, starring Bourvil and directed by Jean Boyer. She was paid 200,000 francs, which was about $5,560 for the small role portraying a cousin of the main character. Bardot had her second film role in Menina, The Girl in the Bikini, directed by Willy Rogier. She also had roles in the films The Long Teeth and His Father's Portrait. Bardot had a small role in a Hollywood-financed film being shot in Paris, Act of Love, 1953, starring Kirk Douglas. She received media attention when she attended the Cannes Film Festival in April 1953. She had a leading role in an Italian melodrama, Concert of Intrigue, and in a French adventure film, Caroline and the Rebels. She had a good part as a flirtatious student in School for Love, opposite Jean Marais, for director Marc Allegret. Bardot played her first sizable English-language role in Doctor at Sea in 1955, as the love interest for Dirk Bogarde. The film was the third most popular movie at the British box office that year. In 1955, Bibi had a small role in The Grand Maneuver for director René Clair, supporting Gerard Philippe and Michel Morgan. The part was bigger in The Light Across the Street, for director Georges Lacombe. She did another with Hollywood film, Helen of Troy, playing Helen's handmaiden. For the Italian movie Mio Figlio Nerone, Bardot was asked by the director to appear as a blonde. Rather than wear a wig to hide her naturally brunette hair, she decided to dye her hair. She was so pleased with the results that she decided to retain the hair color. Rise to stardom. 1956 to 1962. Bardot then appeared in 4 movies that made her a star. First up was a musical, Naughty Girl, where Bardot played a troublesome schoolgirl. Directed by Michel Boisrand, it was co-written by Roger Vadim and was a big hit, the 12th most popular film of the year in France. It was followed by a comedy, Plucking the Daisy, written by Vadim with the director Marc Allegret, and another success at France. So too was the comedy The Bride is Much Too Beautiful, with Louis Jordan. Finally, there was the melodrama And God Created Woman, Vadim's debut as director, with Bardot starring opposite Jean-Louis Trintignant and Kurt Jurgens. The film, about an immoral teenager in a respectable small-town setting, was a huge success, not just in France but also around the world. It was among the 10 most popular films in Britain in 1957. It turned Bardot into an international star. From at least 1956, she was being hailed as the sex kitten. The film scandalized the United States and theater managers were arrested for screening it. During her early career, professional photographer Sam Levin's photos contributed to the image of Bardot's sensuality. One showed Bardot from behind, dressed in a white corset. British photographer Cornell Lucas made images of Bardot in the 1950s and 1960s that have become representative of her public persona. Bardot followed And God Created Woman with La Parisienne, a comedy co-starring Charles Boyer for director Boisrand. She was reunited with Vadim in another melodrama The Night Heaven Fell, and played a criminal who seduced Jean Gabin in Case of Adversity. The latter was the 13th most seen movie of the year in France. In 1958, Bardot became the highest-paid French actress. She made a comedy with Vadim, Please, Not Now, and had a role in the all-star anthology, Famous Love Affairs. Bardot starred alongside Marcello Mastroianni in a film inspired by her life in A Very Private Affair, directed by Louis Malle. More popular in France was Love on a Pillow, another for Vadim. International films and singing career, 1962 to 1968. In the mid-1960s, Bardot made films that seemed to be more aimed at the international market. She starred in Jean-Luc Godard's film Le Mépris, produced by Joseph E. Levine and starring Jack Palance. The following year she co-starred with Anthony Perkins in the comedy Un Ravissant Idiot. She participated in several musical shows and recorded many popular songs in the 1960s and 1970s, mostly in collaboration with Serge Gainsbourg, Bob Zaguri and Sacha Distel. In 1973, Bardot announced she was retiring from acting as a way to get out elegantly. Animal rights activism. After appearing in more than 40 motion pictures and recording several music albums, Bardot used her fame to promote animal rights. In 1986, she established the Brigitte Bardot Foundation for the Welfare and Protection of Animals. She became a vegetarian and raised 3 million francs, which is about $960,000 to fund the foundation by auctioning off jewelry and personal belongings. Bardot is a strong animal rights activist and a major opponent of the consumption of horse meat. In support of animal protection, she condemned seal hunting in Canada during a visit to that country with Paul Watson of the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. Bardot's husband Bernard Diermail is a former advisor to Jean-Marie Le Pen, former leader of the far-right party National Front, now National Rally, the main far-right party in France, known for its nationalist beliefs. Bardot expressed support for Marine Le Pen, leader of the National Rally, calling her the Joan of Arc of the 21st century. She endorsed Le Pen in the 2012 and 2017 French presidential elections. Personal life. Marriages and relationships. Throughout her life, Bardot had 17 relationships with men and was married 4 times. Bardot was leaving for another relationship when the present was getting lukewarm. She said, "I have always looked for passion. That's why I was often unfaithful. And when the passion was coming to an end, I was packing my suitcase." On December 20, 1952, aged 18, Bardot married director Roger Vadim. In 1956, she had become romantically involved with Jean-Louis Trintignant, who was her co-star in God Created Woman. Trintignant at the time was married to actress Stéphane Audran. Bardot and Vadim divorced in 1957, they had no children together, but remained in touch, and even collaborated on later projects. The stated reason for the divorce was Bardot's affairs with 2 other men. Bardot and Trintignant lived together for about 2 years, spanning the period before and after Bardot's divorce from Vadim, but they never married. Their relationship was complicated by Trintignant's frequent absence due to military service and Bardot's affair with musician Gilbert Bécaud. After her separation from Vadim, Bardot acquired a historic property dating from the 16th century, called Le Castellet, in Cannes. The 14-bedroom villa, surrounded by lush gardens, olive trees, and vineyards, consisted of several buildings. In 1958, she bought a second property called La Madrigue, located in Saint-Tropez. In early 1958, her breakup with Trintignant was followed in quick order by a reported nervous breakdown in Italy, according to newspaper reports. A suicide attempt with sleeping pills 2 days earlier was also noted but was denied by her public relations manager. She recovered within weeks and began a relationship with actor Jacques Charrier. She became pregnant well before they were married on June 18, 1959. Bardot's only child, her son Nicholas Jacques Charrier, was born on January 11, 1960. Bardot had an affair with Glenn Ford in the early 1960s. After she and Charrier divorced in 1962, Nicholas was raised in the Charrier family and had little contact with his biological mother until his adulthood. Sammy Fry was mentioned as the reason for her divorce from Charrier. Bardot was enamored of Fry, but he quickly left her. From 1963 to 1965, she lived with musician Bob Zaguri. Bardot's third marriage was to German millionaire playboy Gunter Sachs, lasting from July 14, 1966 to October 7, 1969, though they had separated the previous year. As she was on the set of Shalako, she had rejected Sean Connery's advances. She said, "It didn't last long because I wasn't a James Bond girl. I have never succumbed to his charm." In 1968, she began dating Patrick Gillis, who co-starred with her in The Bear and the Doll, 1970, but she ended their relationship in spring 1971. Over the next few years, Bardot dated In Succession bartender and ski instructor Christian Kalt, club owner Luigi Rizzi, singer Serge Gainsbourg, writer John Gilmore, actor Warren Beatty, and Laurent Verges. In 1974, Bardot appeared in a nude photo shoot in Playboy magazine, which celebrated her 40th birthday. In 1975, she entered a relationship with artist Miroslav Brozic and posed for some of his sculptures. Brozic was also an actor. His stage name is Jean Blaise. The couple lived together at La Madrague. They separated in December 1979. From 1980 to 1985, Bardot had a live-in relationship with French TV producer Alain Bougrain-Dubourg. On September 28, 1983, her 49th birthday, Bardot took an overdose of sleeping pills or tranquilizers with red wine. She had to be rushed to the hospital, where her life was saved after a stomach pump was used to evacuate the pills from her body. Bardot was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1984. She refused to undergo chemotherapy treatment and decided only to do radiation therapy. She recovered in 1986. Bardot's fourth and current husband is Bernard Diormale. They have been married since August 16, 1992. In 2018, in an interview accorded to Le Journal du Dimanche, she denied rumors of relationships with Johnny Hallyday, Jimi Hendrix, and Mick Jagger. Brigitte Bardot statue in Búzios, Brazil. The Guardian named Bardot one of the most iconic faces, models, and actors of the 1950s and 1960s. She has been called a style icon and a muse for Dior, Balmain, and Pierre Cardin. In fashion, the Bardot neckline, a wide-open neck that exposes both shoulders, is named after her. Bardot popularized this style, which is especially used for knitted sweaters or jumpers, although it is also used for other tops and dresses. Bardot popularized the bikini in her early films such as Menina, which was released in France in 1952. She also brought into fashion the choucroute, sauerkraut, hairstyle, a sort of beehive hairstyle, and gingham clothes after wearing a checkered pink dress, designed by Jacques Estrel, at her wedding to Charrier. She was the subject of an Andy Warhol painting. In addition to popularizing the bikini swimming suit, Bardot has been credited with popularizing the city of Saint-Tropez and the town of Armaquém dos Búzios in Brazil, which she visited in 1964 with her boyfriend at the time, Brazilian musician Bob Zaguri. The place where she stayed in Búzios is today a small hotel, Posada do Sol, and also a French restaurant, Sigillon. The town hosts a Bardot statue by Christina Motta. Bardot was idolized by the young John Lennon and Paul McCartney. They made plans to shoot a film featuring the Beatles and Bardot, similar to A Hard Day's Night, but the plans were never fulfilled. Lennon's first wife Cynthia Powell lightened her hair color to more closely resemble Bardot, while George Harrison made comparisons between Bardot and his first wife Pattie Boyd, as Cynthia wrote later in A Twist of Lennon. Lennon and Bardot met in person once, in 1968 at the Mayfair Hotel. Introduced by Beatles press agent Derek Taylor, a nervous Lennon took LSD, which is a mind-altering drug, before arriving. Neither star impressed the other. In 2011, Los Angeles Times Magazine's list of 50 most beautiful women in film ranked her number 2. Bardot inspired Nicole Kidman to promote the 2013 campaign shoot of the British brand Jimmy Choo. In 2015, Bardot was ranked number 6 in the top 10 most beautiful women of all time, according to a survey carried out by Amway's beauty company in the UK, which involved 2,000 women. In 2020, Vogue named Bardot number 1 of the most beautiful French actresses of all time. In a retrospective retracing women throughout the history of cinema, she was listed among the most accomplished, talented and beautiful actresses of all time by Glamour.